Welcome, EKN Nation, to another edition of our Debrief podcast, where we break down an event where we were at trackside. And this one is episode number 112. It's Tuesday, May the 2nd, 2023. My name is Rob Howden, joined by David Cole, who was actually down at the event we're going to talk about today, the United States Pro Kart Series Texas Grand Prix, the USPKS's first visit into the state of Texas. Speed Sports Racing Parks, one of the fantastic racetracks in the United States, and for many people, including David Cole, first opportunity to get down to that racetrack located just north of Houston. Today's show is presented by Rawlson Performance Group. Ready to step up your game? Joining the Rawlson Performance Group is the obvious choice to take your racing to the next level. Industry-leading driver development is provided by our staff of multi-time national champions, Super Nationals winners, and Team USA members. Our goal is to help you raise your game and win races. We work with all age groups and are focused on developing those cadet and junior drivers ready to take the next step in their racing program. If you want to fight for championships or need to improve your skills and chances to win, the answer is to call RPG at 503-260-4514. The Rawlson Performance Group. We race to win. All right, David Cole, you are running quarterback on this one there. You were solo down at the Texas Grand Prix at the USPKS event at Speed Sport Racing Park. The race taking place April 27th to 30th. Let's just start out. We'll kind of roll through the overview, but what were your thoughts on the facility first time there?
Yeah, easy to get to, land at Houston Airport, drive up a couple, 20 minutes. You can take a detour to In-N-Out Burger, which I, of course, did.
Yes, you did.
Of course. Yeah. So traffic up there, though, is a little busy. So I don't suggest being around the Woodlands around 4 p.m. Traffic is insane there. And,
all right. Good to know.
So, a little bit of construction around the area, too. They got, the road construction going on the 242. That's just north of the facility. So, which turned out great because it provided parking area. The road that was under construction is basically dirt, and we were able to use that as parking for the weekend, along with the regular parking lot off Speed Street. And we actually got the food place that's going to be next. I forgot the name of it again off the top of my head.
Was it open?
It was not open, still under construction.
Right.
But they did have a paved parking lot and provided overflow section if needed. So it was it's again brand new for Speed Sports of welcoming other a large crowd, because typically they use the paddock for all the different cars, for the car shows, the drift shows they have, and any other major events they have there. So they learned throughout the weekend. The United States Pro Kart Series learned throughout the weekend about being at the facility as well too. But overall, Texas weather. As soon as you step off the plane, guess what hits you? Humidity.
Yeah, it's Houston, man. Houston's very humid. But let's just say this. It was the first major national event for Speed Sports Racing Park. They've held Texas Pro Kart Challenge, Texas Sprint Racing Series events in the past. So obviously, they've had good regional events. They have their own club program, but nothing of this size, right? Nothing's ever been brought to the track. And of course, Alan and Jessica Rudolph working their tails off to make this really the crown jewel of karting in Texas. They've done that, and to be able to bring the USPKS for round number 2 of their 5-round championship program was, I think, a huge thing. It was a big news, and it was announced onto the schedule. And most of the feedback, I think all the feedback I saw on social media was unbelievably positive. People were very, very happy to be there. Loved the racetrack, which is great. Back to the race itself, David. Again, USPKS counting the best 4 out of 5 races. The 11th season for the program, the racing, as I watched some of it on Kart Chaser. And when I was not at home, I was actually listening to it on, of course, the EKN radio network when I was out at the gym. Weather-wise, how was it throughout the Thursday to Sunday?
Well, of course, Thursday you arrive, you get the humidity, you get kind of used to that. It wasn't bad weather on Thursday. Friday was warm, sunny throughout the day. It was Saturday that changed everything up, because we were in the 80s on Thursday and Friday, and it dropped down into the 60s with strong wind. Everybody's wearing long sleeves and pants. Some of us braved, the elements, because it is, warm for us Michiganders. So
I'm sure you had your shorts. I'm sure you had your shorts on, Dave.
I had my shorts on. It had moments. The sun would come out and it felt like, oh yeah, we're gonna warm back up, and then boom, cloud covered, took it away, and you grabbed the jacket back. So it was kind of that interesting weather, and of course the wind had a lot to do with the feel of temperature. So yeah, it was interesting to see. I wonder, and I wonder if it helped keep the tire conditions a little better too, because, you know, that's one of the things they talked about in Orlando was the tire degradation by the end of Saturday with, you know, 3 rounds of heat races. So 30 laps on the tires. Yeah. I'm wondering if it helped a little bit because we didn't see a lot of guys struggle. We saw most of the front runners stay up front and nobody really struggle or nobody really shine through, you know, managing tires. So
okay,
that could have helped, but it could have been a lot more interesting if it was hotter, because it certainly was hot again on Sunday. It felt a little bit warmer than it did the rest of the weekend. So, but all in all, great. You know, the rain stayed away aside from, I believe it was Friday night when that system moved in and you know, thunderstorms and stuff like that. So washed the track off a little bit, and but thankfully no wet session, so that was good.
That's good. Let's have a look at the numbers right now. The USPKS launching back in March at Orlando Kart Center with 303, just topping that 300 mark. For Speed Sport, 284. So right around, well, even a little bit less than a 10% drop. 2 of the categories actually going up. Micro Swift was only 31 at Orlando, almost hit the 40 mark. In Texas with 39, and KA100 adding 1 from 57 up to 58. Otherwise, David, across the board, not too bad. A drop of 1 for Mini Swift, still a massive 45 kart grid. Of course, they locked that one down, closed that one. For X30 Junior, 29, actually just 18 at Speed Sports. X30 Pro, very similar at 37 to the 39 in Orlando. KA100 Masters, a surprise to me, from 27 in Orlando, knowing the amount of KA100 Masters drivers who race in the Texas area. Only 20 drivers in that class. Still a strong category. KA100 Junior going down from 56 to 51, and Pro Shifter 18 down to 16. Still a solid Pro Shifter category. Texas has always been a really strong shifter state, if you look back historically.
Yeah, historically it has been, and I believe half the field was from the state of Texas, so that certainly helped that. And we'll see how things shift over into Newcastle for the third event of the year for that category. But yeah, across the board, you know, pretty much the same as what we saw, except for, you know, X30 Junior. It's just, you know, just this class of 2023, and in terms of the junior drivers in X30 is just, there's not a lot there. Majority of the drivers are sticking with the KA side of things, whether it be for budget reasons or speed reasons, or not wanting to move up to the X30 program. So that will be one to kind of watch. You know, I think we'll see the KA100 Master stick in that 20 range. You know, we were hoping for more than that this weekend. Unfortunately, didn't get that, but I think, you know, going to the Midwest, we'll get some more at Newcastle. We'll get some more at Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati. Yeah. And then we'll see where we end up with the GoPro finale.
The what finale?
I'm sorry, Trackhouse. Correct. Trackhouse Motorplex.
The Trackhouse Motorplex finale. There you go. I just figured I knew it was coming. Like I can't wait.
I pulled a Howden.
Well, how's that a Howden? What are you talking about?
Oh, you've said the wrong things before.
A couple of times, David. I'm the one that sits here. Trust me, I'm the one that sits here and helps you pronounce names. Let's be real.
True. But yeah, when you're announcing, you do say wrong names every once.
I do.
So
I do 100%.
It's good. It's good. I had to. I just call it a Howden because you're the only one I consider it with. You know.
And I got big shoulders, and don't worry about it either.
Exactly. You're not gonna cry in your big pillow.
Yeah, I didn't take it personally when you taped over my name on my tower either. That was really horrible.
Oh, that was amazing. Yeah, that was good. I took it off right after I took the photo.
I appreciate that. All right, folks, first break in the action. This edition of the Debrief, episode number 112. It's Tuesday, May the 2nd. Rob Howden and David Cole here, deep diving into the USPKS event at Speed Sports Racing Park, the Texas Grand Prix. We get back after this quick break. We will jump into the paddock pass. David's got a bunch of stuff to talk about that happened off the racetrack.
You want the best? You just got to roll with the best. Streeter Superstands. This is Jeff Wessel from StreeterSuperstands.com. You wouldn't put subpar parts on your racing cart, so why put that cherished ride of yours on anything but karting's #1 lifts and stands, Streeter Superstands. Streeter is the original and genuine manufacturer of the second-to-none Bigfoot rolling stands, stackers, uprights, and industry-leading Superlift. We also manufacture and sell the largest and always growing roster of trailer and shop accessories like tire, engine and jug racks, cabinets, spray can trays, bead breakers, and tons more to outfit any size trailer, team, and budget. Streeter Superstands has over 30 continuous years of experience. We're kart racers just like you and know that the Streeter name represents the absolute best in stands, lifts, and accessories for karting enthusiasts worldwide. Durability, affordability, unmatched quality, and customer service, that's what sets us apart from the rest. Check us out now at StreeterSuperstands.com. Roll with the best, StreeterSuperstands.com.
Motor mounts. They keep your engine attached to your chassis, right? The answer is they're much more important than that. Your motor mount is critical in transferring 100% of the power from your engine through to your tires and the racetrack. You need this to get on the podium each and every time you race. Odenthal Racing Products is here for you, providing the best motor mounts on the karting market today, all designed to make sure you're using all the horsepower you pay for. Odenthal Racing Products is a family-owned and operated business with decades of karting experience in providing products with unmatched quality and value for our racing community. The Pro Series mount for 2-cycle engines, which is available in 0, 5, and 8-degree inclinations, provides a rigid structure to help keep vibration to a minimum without adding too much weight to your setup. The 4-cycle Easy Set system is one of the most popular mounts for the Briggs & Stratton 206 power plant. Multiple mounting holes provide the most adjustability depending on your chassis and seat placement. To ensure a tight fit to your chassis, our ORP wedge clamps get the job done, and they feature a number of design updates to provide a lower profile and lighter weight. The clamps are available from 28mm to 32mm in both standard and Euro style sizes. And now, Odenthal has also revolutionized the karting industry with its new Easy GP camera mounting system. Designed to mount anywhere on your chassis with 1 or 2 cameras, the ORP Easy GP camera mount is your solution to capture that onboard winning moment. Head to odenthalracing.com and find a dealer near you. Odenthal Racing Products, proudly made in the USA. Fast, fair, and fun. Ignite Karting offers you all of that at an affordable price. Ignite Karting utilizes the spec Margay Ignite K3 with a Briggs & Stratton 206 engine and a Hoosier R80 tire. Everyone in the junior, senior, and masters classes compete on the same Ignite K3 chassis, which puts all the emphasis squarely on driver development. Additionally, Ignite Karting is accessible at the local, regional, and national level. Special events for the 2023 season include the Ignite Majors, which begins with the annual trip to the Daytona International Speedway as part of the WKA Daytona Kart Week as part of both the sprint and road racing events. Those in the Midwest can enjoy the regionally based Ignite Challenge, which just finished up a record-setting season in 2022. Local club programs have also been established in other states all across the country, from Idaho to Texas, Nebraska to New York, with more tracks and clubs joining the Ignite Karting program. Be part of fast fun and great memories with Margay Racing at an Ignite track near you. All information on Ignite events and Ignite Kart packages, including dealers in your area, are available at ignitekarting.com. Get off the couch and out onto the track in 2023. Ignite Karting. Fuel your passion. Welcome back to episode 112 of the EKN Debrief, the end of our EKN trackside coverage for the USPKS event at Speed Sports. Of course, David we did the Outlap preview podcast, all the social media, all the race reports throughout the weekend, tons of video that David took on social media. We thank everybody for their kind words on all that stuff we were able to put out this past weekend, or at least David was able to put out. Let's jump into the paddock pass right now. Some information from away from the racetrack before we go class by class. This edition of the Paddock Pass presented by Parolin USA. It all started back in 1994 when former kart driver Albino Parolin decided to move his passion for karting from the track to his small workshop. That's where Parolin was born. Parolin USA is North America's source for Parolin products. We run a factory race team at all the major national Superkarts USA, USPKS, and Rock Cup USA events. The Apparel and chassis line for 2023 includes the Invader Shifter, the Le Mans Tag single speed chassis for junior and senior drivers, the 28mm Opportunity model for the cadet classes, and the Daytona 4-cycle chassis. Get on the chassis that's winning. Drive Apparelin. For more information, head to ParallenUSA.com. All right, David, you got a bunch of stuff lined up here. Give us the insight. What happened? Give us some paddock pass stuff. What we got?
Well, let's start off with a great song that you gotta sing when you go to the Lone Star State. God bless Texas.
Yeah, no doubt.
It got in a lot of people's heads in the scoring tower when I kept singing it all weekend long.
I bet you were.
It is, it is an amazing facility that is a speed sports racing park. Again, my first time there. You've been been there multiple times, and again, you just don't really know what it is until you've been there. And it provides great racing. It's a great layout. Has the rental kart track right next door. And the paddock, it held up. That was obviously one of the biggest questions going into the weekend was if everybody was going to get in. There were three teams that were parked just outside the actual gates itself. But there was some room that, again, depending on how everybody could fit in, et cetera, those probably could have moved into the main paddock space. There was a team that was supposed to be there, and so there was an empty spot there. So one of them could have easily filled that spot, and then you move some trailers and trucks around, and you get everybody in. So, at what did we say? 284 on the entry.
Yep.
So, 300 is probably going to be around the maximum unless you continue outside or even, utilizing maybe the rental track for paddock space. I mean, there's actually room to expand. You could use that. So, that would be an interesting take on how big of an event can we get there.
Well, and let's be real. 300 is about the biggest we've been for a national event, right? USPKS is setting new numbers at just over 300 entries. So I don't know that we're going to see anything bigger. I think they've shown right now that they can hold as big an event as sprint karting can put on right now.
That's a good
other than Supernats, right? Other than the Supernationals, right?
Yeah. It's just we're kind of spoiled, especially us being near the Midwest and being by Newcastle and having just the massive amount of space to be able to fit everybody in. So we're kind of spoiled by that, because even GoPro or Trackhouse, Motorplex,
that's true.
It's a tight fit to get in there as well too. So you got to manipulate some things and move parking of RVs, et cetera, et cetera. So. But overall, just, it was great to be there. Alan and Jessica really have a passion for their facility. It's their home. They wanted to make sure it was left the way everybody saw it. And I went there Monday and it was pretty much that way, and they actually took care of tires for everybody. So that was not a big issue. They had trash people working all day long. And believe me, there were sets upon sets of tires getting thrown out all weekend long. So, that's interesting. And then a key aspect is the hotel is right next to the racetrack, literally a 0.3 of a mile walk. And so it was unique to be able to actually Friday morning walk out and go to the racetrack and not have to get in the car. So, the only time we've been able to do that is Supernats and Rock Island Grand Prix. So that was an interesting aspect. And, so all the staff was able to do that. They were doing golf carts back and forth. A lot of the kids had their scooters going back and forth. And so it made for a less stressful morning, that's for sure. And the hotel, very nice, just needs to work on a few things here and there. But all overall, a good place to stay, being right next to the racetrack.
Yeah, and David, I was there. I stayed there when I went and did my track day with Alan before the Super Nationals. And this is a hotel that was designed because they figured there's going to be baseball fields and stuff that were going to be put in that aren't getting put in right now. So they really have, I think it's probably the first time they've had to have that many people probably ever in the history of the hotel, I would have bet, right?
Yeah, it's sold out. So there was no rooms available. Again, just, staffing is obviously a key aspect when you have a hotel that's sold out. So that's one of the issues, but there's a restaurant bar right there. So it was good. You didn't have to go anywhere. And, you had the Domino's pizza right behind the facility as well too. So we grabbed some of that for dinner on Sunday after, being on racetrack for 5 straight hours. So
right. And the cool thing is that
works.
area, there's more restaurants and everything going to be going into that area too. That whole where the track is surrounded by the water park and all the stuff that's going in there. It's going to be a pretty cool little area when it's all said and done.
Yeah, all under construction, and I assume that's why they're expanding the road there, because they're expecting more and more businesses and other things going to be there. Yep. Exactly. Yep. So,
yep. What else you got?
All right. So Thursday night, CRG Nordam held an open house at their headquarters there in Conroe, Texas. So it's about 20-minute drive from the facility. So a number of the teams and customers under the CRG brand were able to head over there and enjoy a good Texas barbecue with you and Jeffrey playing host, and got to see where the magic happens for CRG Nordam, where they're, the warehouse, the kart assembly, the showroom, the office. Got to see all of that. Thursday is great to kind of sit and talk with some of the CRG people that were there this weekend.
Nice.
Yeah, and from good news to bad news, it seems to be every event we go to, there seems to be a type of theft. And unfortunately, Brandon Jarzakrak Racing had their new truck stolen in the Houston area near the airport, I believe Wednesday night, or it was actually Tuesday night. And so unfortunately, they had to kind of scramble, figure things out. Thankfully, Iron Rock Motorsports, very local to the area, they were able to contact a driver that could be able to haul their trailer to North Carolina for this weekend's event there. So luckily, they were able to hire out a truck driver to take care of that. Now Brandon has to go through the hassle that John Ferris did during the Homestead weekend, and a few others that have had to deal with that. So certainly, one thing, we want to keep racers informed. Take care of your vehicles when you are parked at hotels. That's certainly one of the major things that has been going around across the country, not just, the small cars, but they love the trucks as well too.
Yeah, get a tracker. Get one of those tracker deals, folks, for your cars. Whatever it is, the little tab things you can buy nowadays. I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head, but get something so that if a car, your vehicle's taken off, you can track it down somewhere for sure. That's just, I feel horrible for Brandon. That's just brutal.
Yeah, or find a way to make it to where they can't steal it, where they can't start it, or something like that. I know there's a lot of electronics that are out on the market. There were a couple people talking about it, and where I think Tim Coyan even has something where it's like a 120 prong electronic device that has to be plugged in order for your truck to start. So, certainly look into those things. Maybe that's something that, some of these karting programs can get sponsorship from, even
no doubt, right?
To kind of educate people on that. Trailer alarms, maybe they're into, they're longtime karters. Maybe they're
I was just going to say Lau Clark. Yeah.
Keeping trucks safe while parked at hotels.
Indeed. Good call. What else you got, David?
Yeah, so as the temperature got warmer on Sunday, it just seemed like there are more and more people. Speed Sports was really trying to get a lot of the local people to show up, but there were a lot of people near the area in the karting industry, or have been in the karting industry, that were there. So it was just everywhere you look, there were people. It was just jam packed with people watching the main events on Sunday. But got to walk, as I'm walking through from Scales to the tower, I got to see Neil Strickland from Superkarts USA and IKF. Got to see Brittany Loboff from Texas Sprint Racing Series. Ryan Kinnear, got to talking with him for a quick minute, who he's been out of the seat for a couple of years now. Mark Trailer, your wrench from Supernats, came by to check out the main events. But one of the big things that we heard and saw all weekend long was the Elio Meza fan club. There were just so many people there behind him and supporting him, cheering him on, obviously doing double duty on the weekend. And every time they had an interview with Elio, he was, especially on the podium, it was certainly loud cheers.
I heard you got a chance to meet Ken Engelking as well when you were there.
Yes, that was the last one I didn't add into, but yeah, I got to meet him face to face. It was good to see him. He was there. I think it was Friday, maybe, that I saw him. Yeah, it was Friday, and I was hoping he was going to come. Yeah, I was hoping he was going to come back on Sunday, because that was the show. That's what you want to see, is that Friday is boring compared to the Sunday action. But it was good to see him, and again, amazing spirit, and just loves the sport.
Yeah, Ken Engelking, folks, we did an article on before on EKN, 80 years old, and runs at a bunch of their the tracks, Speed Sport Racing Parks rental programs, runs the Ironmans all by himself. He's done a couple of 206 races. He's been in karting for many, 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 many years, but still digging it, which I think is fantastic for sure. I know that he posted to Facebook that he got a chance to meet David, which I thought was pretty cool. All right, there's your Paddock Pass, folks, brought to you by Parolin USA. David talking a lot about the facility at Speed Sports, CRG holding their open house. Sad to hear that Brandon Jarskott got his truck stolen. Again, that's one of the things people should watch out for. And a packed house on Sunday. Love to hear that. And again, David, we talk about just a real brief thing. We talk about people coming out to watch major races, right? We always wonder, hey, when a big major national event comes to your track or your region, get out and watch it. And a lot of people don't do that, right? But it's cool to see that the race drew a lot of the players in the sport in Texas.
Yeah, and again, I think just regular, friends of family, there's a lot of racers there from the Houston area or nearby. So that's a key element. Again, exposure. Anytime you can get new people to the racetrack watching, and especially an event like that, it's great for the sport.
Indeed. Time for another break in the action. When we get back, we'll dive into the race report. We'll talk X30 Pro, KA100 Senior, and Pro Shifter. Don't go anywhere. More to come this edition of the Debrief. It's a multi-time world champion, and it's a Super Kart USA Super Nationals winner. It is Sodi Kart. And starting in 2023, the Sodi brand has found a new home here in the U.S. Sodi Racing USA is the new exclusive importer of the Sodi Kart chassis line under the karting distribution banner, led by industry veteran Terry Germanovich. The French manufacturer Sodi Kart is a leader within the karting industry, offering a wide range of products and services. The Sodi Racing chassis line offers product in classes from Mini to KZ, all based on years of development and championship seasons around the world. Sodi Racing USA has already begun establishing its dealer network, working with the Karting Collective on the West Coast, and recently signing PK Sport to serve as a dealer and the official race team on the East Coast. Visit Sodi-Racing-USA.com to learn more about the Sodi Kart chassis line, or call 954-634-5111 to become part of the Sodi Racing USA network today. Sodi Kart, the world leader in the karting industry. Top-level production with a focus on a single form of motorsport, karting. This is MG Tires. MG Tires USA, underneath the Vantage Karting Group banner, is the official distributor of the MG Tires brand for the United States. MG Tires are the official spec tire in the US Pro Kart Series, Route 66 Sprint Series, Sunshine State Karting Challenge, and countless clubs across the country. No matter your compound preference, MG Tires USA has you covered. Whether it's the medium SH Red or the soft SM Yellow that you find at many karting events in the US, or the super soft green SS and the intermediate white IZ optional compounds, MG Tires USA has your winning set of rubber in stock. Indoor and outdoor rental facilities can now trust MG Tires with their solution to long-lasting and the best performance with 3 different compounds available through the RL line. For more info about MG Tires USA and its extensive list of dealers near you, check out their website at mgtiresusa.com. MG Tires, for the drivers. ...2019 marked a new era for the Kartlift brand. The company that Tim Coyne owned and operated since 2003, one with a long tradition of quality products for the karting industry, was purchased by Ted Fashing and his business, Stockholm Karting Center, in October of 2019. Stockholm Karting Center Inc. has added the Kartlift brand to their very successful Triple T Race Products brand that has been fabricating parts for the drag racing industry for the past 25 years. We're small enough where the owner answers the phone and every call is important to us, but we're large enough to get the job done. We pride ourselves on the quality and personal customer service that we provide on the phone or at the track. Kartlift stands, as you know, can be found at racetracks all over the country. If you race alone, or if you're a parent with a cadet or junior driver, let our one-man winch lift make your race days easier. Position the hooks under the rear bumper, push the button and your cart is raised into position and you're ready to go. We have traditional cart stands, single upright storage stands, cart lift stackers for storing 2 carts at once, tire changers, and skid plate kits. Cart lift stands are available at the finest cart shops around the country, or you can order online at cartlift.com. For more information, give us a call at 877-777-8020. That's 877-777-8020. Get a cart lift and leave your crew at home. Welcome back to episode 112 of the EKN Debrief, as we're talking about the US PKS event, the Texas Grand Prix at Speed Sports Racing Park this past weekend in New Caney, Texas, just north of Houston. Now time to jump into the race report. We'll talk about the 3 primary categories for senior drivers. The race report presented by Factory Carts. Made in the USA. It's not just a statement, it's the mission at Factory Carts of America. Led by 4-time Super Nationals champion Billy Musgrave, Factory Carts manufactures their frames completely in-house at their Riverside, California facility. Built and designed from the ground up specifically for the American karting market, Factory Carts brings new innovations and solutions that are long overdue. No other karting manufacturer stands behind its product as Factory Carts does, providing a 2-year warranty on all their frames. Learn more by visiting factorycarts.com or email Billy anytime at info@factorycarts.com. All right, David, let's jump into the race report. X30 Pro, brought to you by Franklin Motorsports. As I always do, I'll roll out the headline. You fill in the information. For X30 Pro, here's the headline. Turney leads British Invasion with first series victory.
Yeah, before the British Invasion took place, it was the hometown favorite, Elio Meza, that was setting the pace. Got out to put down a good lap in qualifying to earn his first pole position in the X30 Pro category. Then he went on to win 2 of the 3 heat races. The second one, however, he got a little schooling, got a little shuffled back, and the guys went after him that race. So he actually fell back to the 13th position. So 2 wins and a 13 certainly didn't allow him to keep the pole position. And that's why it went to Alessandro Di Tullio, who was the most consistent driver of the 3 heat races with a 2nd, 3rd, and a 4th. It was Diego Ramos who won that 2nd heat. That was a bit wild and crazy. He was the 2nd top qualifier. So a win in 2 fifths put him on the outside of the front row. So it was all Burrell Art front row for the start of the main event, but the action was hot and heavy early on, and it ended up being Joe Turney, the Brit, coming in to make his first USPKS start for Kart Republic. He started 3rd after qualifying 9th, but was able to work his way up to the top 5 in all 3 heat races. And, starting 3rd, got by Di Tullio quickly as Ramos led, and then quickly by him into the lead. And then fighting behind him for 2nd gave him a little bit of a gap, but a more consistent, quick pace allowed him to stretch further and further away from the rest of the field, driving away to a 7-second victory for his first victory at the United States Pro Kart Series in his debut. The fight for 2nd went on and on for the majority of the 20-lap main event. Ended up being championship leader Brandon Carr. Started 7th and eventually just worked his way up into the 2nd spot. So the Brit finished 2nd. But Harley Keeble, that kid is just a beast. He always takes advantage of certain situations that allow him to move up. And he certainly did that. Held 2nd for a time, but ended up finishing in 3rd. So that is your British Invasion, with the British drivers taking 1st, 2nd, and 3rd on the podium. A wild run for them. Blake Nash was just able to edge out Elio Meza for the 4th spot. That was a great run to the checkered flag. As again, a lot of drivers in the mix for the 2nd spot, but ended up being Carr, Keeble, Nash, and Meza behind Turney.
Wow, impressive for the 3 drivers. Again, maybe a little bit about the fact that it's a new racetrack for most people. They haven't been down there doing a lot of testing. I know people were there the week before testing, but again, it's not like it's a track where Turney and Keeble, these guys have to come over. Carr's been here many years, obviously, but Turney and Keeble come over and have never got a chance to run. Everybody else has been running for years and years on. So maybe a little bit of a level playing field, but man, pretty impressive. Again, Joe Turney, we know, one of the world's best right now, if not the best driver in the world. So a 7.5 second win, pretty impressive for Carr and Keeble. Nash and Meza rounding out the top 5. Hard charger, David, Tyler McIntyre on the Parolin up 18 spots, started 31st, got his way up to 13th.
Yeah, he qualified 27th, so he kind of struggled throughout the early part of the weekend, but a lot of aggressive racing, drivers retiring as well. That certainly allowed him to move up into the top 15. One of those drivers retiring early, Ryan Norberg, the two-time defending champion, he had a bit of a struggle, not really quick throughout the weekend, finished 4th, 7th, and 11th in his heat races.
Okay.
Main event just wasn't able to move forward. Just didn't quite have that Norberg pace that we saw in Orlando or anywhere else we've been. You know, they tested all last weekend, but it just seemed like they just couldn't find it in the X30 Pro category under the RPG tent this weekend. So certainly going to be one to kind of look over. Now they got that full month to kind of regroup and reset as the season moves forward.
Let's move to the KA100 senior class presented by Mike Doty Racing. Here is the headline. Mesa defends home turf in front of fan club.
Yeah, running the double duty and at your home racetrack, he was among the favorites, but this is the category where I certainly put him as one of the favorites to win in this category. Because remember, I did put the over-under at 3 Texas drivers to win this weekend.
You did.
We'll just keep it at the under would have won. So
okay, yeah.
Mesa was one. Yes. Mesa was I think the only Texas driver to win on the weekend. Let me double check.
Okay.
Yeah, he was. So made it. There was a couple others that were in it in the other categories, but Mesa the only.
It was a bold prediction, Dave. That was a bold prediction.
It's not a bold prediction. It was an easy prediction because again, Mesa, even though he is a senior rookie, we knew he's got a lot of laps there. Was coming in as the KA100 junior defending champ or 2022 champion in the junior category, so was certainly one of those favorites in. But it was a fight up until early on in the main event. But to get there, Mesa set the fast time in qualifying, so nothing too crazy there. John Burke, another Texan in the second spot, so we figured there's going to be a number of Texans there because you also had Alex Stanfield, who actually jumped back into the Kart, the defending series champion, and he qualified 5th. So you had 3 Texas in the top 5 after qualifying. So Mesa went on to win 2 of the 3 heat races. It was a good battle in his third. It ended up being Alex Stanfield, who still was kind of shaking off the rust, but certainly had it shaken off by heat 3 and was able to beat Mesa. So it wasn't a clean sweep for Mesa through the heat races. Josh Holtz, Burke, and Brandon Lemke were the other heat winners, with the KA100 senior group split up into A, B, C, D groups. Holtz had an issue in one of the heat races, got together with Ben Cooper. John Burke ended up with 2 runner-ups and a win, so that put him second in the order for the main event, next to Mesa on the front row. And then Brandon Lemke also had an issue in one of the heat races as well, so he was starting further back in the main event after picking up a win. So the grid ended up looking like Mesa, Burke, Alex Stanfield, Peyton Phillips, so Texas drivers 1, 2, 3, 4, and then Henry Wheeler in the 5th spot to start the main event. Wheeler, under the Mike Doty Racing tent, had a pretty strong weekend. Just very consistent, kept himself out of trouble, kept himself up towards the front. Looked like he was going to be a contender early on as well, too, in the main event. We saw a large group start out in the main event, the 20-lap main event up front. Mesa was there, Burke was there, Stanfield was there. They were kind of leading the train, kind of shuffling up a little bit. Lap 8, however, as Mesa made a move on Burke, Stanfield went along with Mesa, so he was trying to put Burke back into third. As they went through the corner, which is at the end of the straightaway, I can't remember what number it was.
6, right? 6 in the straightaway? I
believe so, yes, correct, 6. As they went through turn 6, a little bit of contact between Burke and Stanfield, shot Burke up in the air and turned around over, collecting Brandon Lemke at the same time. So those 3 drivers basically out of the running. That allowed Elio Mesa to kind of get a lot of real estate and escape with the lead, and then wasn't challenged the rest of the way, driving away to a 3-second advantage at the checkered flag to pick up his first series victory in KA100 senior. Behind him, it was just a battle to the end for second spot. ended up being Peyton Phillips scoring the second position ahead of Braden Eves on the Kart Republic for MPG Motorsports. Cooper Shipman in the 4th spot, and I don't have 5th on my sheet, so I'm going to try and pull it up right now. And that was Ben Cooper. Ben Cooper. Up 13 spots to 5th. So Cooper Shipman actually was back in 19th on the opening laps, so he was able to work himself up from 19th to 4th in the 20-lap race.
Yeah, solid run. Another solid run was played in by Brooke Berry. She actually won the LCQ, started 41st, and then up moving up 18 spots into 23rd. So Brooke obviously has a lot of track time at Speed Sports, although obviously didn't have a great run through the heat races to be moved into the LCQ, but a good LCQ win and a solid run through the main event as well.
Yeah, and Henry Wheeler, again, not a way to cap off a good weekend. Had broken exhaust springs, so he retired early. Terlecki, again, in the hunt all weekend long, kept his nose clean, was in the mix. He actually started in the 7th spot, was racing for that second position until the last lap when contact put him off the racetrack. So a couple heartbreakers for Wheeler and Terlecki.
Damn. All right, let's go to the Pro Shifter category presented by SRP Engines. Here's your headline. Myers gains redemption with first victory of 2023.
Yeah, redemption was on the mind, and certainly for him and everyone kind of watching this category. And he stepped up right away, challenging for the pole position, but it ended up being round 1 winner, Danny Formel on the RPG Cosmic, that was able to set fast time in qualifying, nipping Myers by just a few. Myers said he had the speed, just made a little bit of a mistake, and that certainly cost him the pole position. Kremmer's in the 3rd spot with Carrera in the 4th spot. He would actually be a factor throughout the weekend. You know, we thought it was going to be the big 3 that were kind of setting the pace, but Carrera made it 4 drivers. So you had Cosmic, Magic, Burrell Art, and the Lenzo Kart, all 4 drivers kind of in the mix. The opening race, heat race, it went to Formal. Myers got the whole shot, but kind of slipped up on pace and wasn't quite there as Formal took the win. But Myers made up for it in the final 2 heat races, taking the win in both of them. Kremmer's actually finishing second in the second heat, with Formal in the runner-up spot in the 3rd. So it still kind of kept the order the same with Myers, Formal, Kremmer's, and Carrera on the front 2 rows for the main event start. Whole shot by Myers. He jumped out to the lead, got challenged by Formal as Kremers actually fell back to 4th early on as Carrera went up into the 3rd spot. So you kind of had 2 duels going at the same time early on in the main event. Formal took the lead on lap 8, but Myers went right back and took it from him again. And essentially from there, led the rest of the way. Kremers was pretty much the strongest driver in the second half of the race. He got back by Carrera with a questionable move, and then got by Formal late, and then put a little bit of pressure on Myers in the final 2 laps, but wasn't able to make a move or attempt a move. So that allowed Myers to go on to score the victory by half a second, what would be a half second over Formal, as Kremers finished second on track, but was penalized 3 positions for the contact, passing Carrera. So that dropped Kremers down to the 5th spot, moved Formal up to 2nd, Carrera 3rd, with Hunter Pickett in the 4th spot.
Yeah, pretty solid racing with the big dogs up front for sure. Myers, Formal, and Kremers. And yeah, Carrera's really stepped up, David, has he not, over the last 3-4 months, really kind of getting himself in there with the International Motorsports Lenzo Kart package. He looks really good.
Yeah, they have the pace there. I think they just need a little bit more. You know, he's certainly getting more and more comfortable. They just, pace wise, I think they're there. They just need to find a little bit to be able to challenge for that top spot. Maybe qualifying might help a little bit there, being able to qualify quicker than the other 3.
Indeed. A hard charger was Ayrton Hernandez on the Formula K, up 3 spots, started 10th, moved up into the 7th position for Hernandez. So a couple spots there, a lot of good racing in the Pro Shifter category. Back to another break in the action, folks. When we get back, we'll talk about X30 Junior, KA100 Junior, and KA100 Masters. Established in 1999, PSL Karting has become a powerhouse within the karting industry for North America and around the world. PSL Karting is your complete source for all Burrell Art products as the North American importer, providing this top quality product through both their expansive dealer network or through the pslkarting.com online store. Whatever you need is available 24/7 online, including safety gear, parts, components, and full karting packages. All three brands, Burrell Art, Ricardo Kart, and Charles Leclerc karts are in stock and ready to hit the track. Grab your winning chassis for any category by visiting pslkarting.com to find your nearest dealer. PSL Karting is always looking for interest in new dealers and teams to help create new business relationships. Drivers looking to take their talents to the next level can join the Burrell Art North America race team, competing at all the major US and Canadian events this season. When you're ready to win, go with PSL Karting. All over the karting world, everyone knows OTK is the gold standard for quality and performance. In the US, OTK USA is the source for all things OTK. From the legendary Tony Kart brand to the race-winning Cosmic and Prix chassis, and now the new Red Speed and EOS brands, OTK quality is second to none. All five brands are winning races and championships across the country in national programs like the Rock Cup USA Florida Winter Tour and the Challenge of the Americas, the SCUSA Pro Tour and Winter Series, and the Pro Kart Challenge, the United States Pro Kart Series, and the WKA Manufacturers Cup. And OTK products are also front and center on the podium of club and regional races from coast to coast. To learn more about a specific product line, you can find the OTK USA dealer near you, whether it's Tony Kart, Cosmic, Prix, Red Speed, or EOS. Visit www.otkusa.com. Specific chassis territories are still available, so kart shops interested in adding a winning component to their product lineups can contact OTK USA directly. Powered by technology, DID racing chains have a worldwide reputation for superior quality and reliability. Meticulously engineered and manufactured in Japan, DID genuine parts are the world's #1 original parts supplier for Japanese and European motorcycle manufacturers. A rich racing tradition where results speak for themselves, DID prides itself on engineering the most technologically advanced chains on the market to help you excel on and off the track. DID's SDH pin treatment creates an extremely hard chromium carbide layer on the pin surface that houses a soft inner core to absorb extreme shock loads. DID's 219 HTZ racing chain boasts this SDH pin technology, which leads to longer chain life as well as excellent energy transmission to the wheels. Available in the gorgeous gold, the 219 HTZ is the ultimate racing kart chain. Pick up a DID chain at your local dealer today, because when winning is the only thing that matters, go with DID. Welcome back to the EKN Debrief, episode 112, as we're doing a deep dive into the USPKS Speed Sports event, the Texas Grand Prix, the second round of the series. This race report presented by Factory Karts. Here's your X30 Junior category, presented by Rawlson Performance Group. The headline, Sweeping Performance for Rivera.
This guy is the one to beat in junior category. There is no doubt about it, especially in X30 Pro Junior. Rivera just was almost untouchable throughout the weekend, qualifying quickest, winning all three heat races without any challenge. But in the main event, however, got a little pressure and actually fell back to second early on. Diego, I can never say his name correctly.
I think it's Giat.
Giat.
We need to confirm it.
Yes, Diego Giat. So yeah, I'm trying to remember how they were saying it on the PA, but I can't quite remember. So Diego was able to get around him in the opening lap, so put Rivera in the second spot for the first time on the weekend. However, it was only that opening lap that Rivera would not lead. He took back the position and then just put down an incredible pace to pull away from the rest of the field, claiming the victory by 6.7 seconds at the line. And again, behind him, just a battle for second all the way down to the wire. Anthony Martelli on the red speed for Speed Concepts Racing was able to kind of break away late. So then it ended up being a fight for third behind him. Ended up with Enzo Vidmontien on the Parolin in the third position. Nathan Dupuis, I think. Dupuis, sorry. Yes. Nathan Dupuis with Speed Concepts Racing red speed in fourth, and Jackson Woolney on the RPG Cosmic in fifth.
Yeah, solid run for all those drivers to get themselves into the top five. But again, Rivera, as you said, really hasn't been just the dominant factor. Wins the Super Nationals last year after battling with his teammate Caleb Gaffera. Ends up getting that victory. And really the momentum just kind of was fired there. And he has been just rocking and rolling ever since. Swept every session, as David had said. 6.7 seconds to win, having lost the lead on the opening circuit, came back and grabbed it. Good run, though, for Anthony Martello. As you said, the Canadian going to P2 ahead of Vidmontien, Dupuis, and Woolney. A hard charger, Charlie Smith, David, started back in the 18th position, able to work his way up into 9th.
Yeah, I believe two Canadians. I believe Dupuis is also Canadian as well.
Good possibility, yeah. I'd have to look at that.
I believe so. I'm looking at that right now as you're talking to me.
Check it out. So anyways, Charlie Smith on the comp cart with the hard charger run, 9 spots up, as we said. 18th up to 9th. Let's go to the KA100 junior class. David will, of course, update us on Dupuis when he gets a chance. BBS Racing Engine is the sponsor of the KA100 junior category on the USPKS. And here's the headline. Photo finish ends with Rivera earning second straight.
Yeah, this was the category that was up in the air. There was a lot of drivers that were in the mix, and that's what we're seeing, obviously, throughout the country in KA100 racing.
Indeed.
Rivera, however, set the tone in qualifying, setting fast time there, but was only able to win one of the heat races. I believe it was the first one. Yeah, I'm trying to remember back. No, the second heat race where it was he and Stephen Miller. Yes, the second one where he and Stephen Miller made contact. So Skinner actually got him on the racetrack. That was a great battle. Then we thought, okay, the Texas drivers, this is where I thought I was going to get another Texas driver.
You did, Landon Skinner, yeah.
Landon Skinner, I thought for sure being at the home racetrack was going to be able to battle. So he did well, got the first opening heat race. And Sebastian Garzon picked up the other in the first round of heat races. Second round of heat races, it was Rivera and Miller battling it out for the lead. The penultimate corner, turn was at 14. The right-hander, the 180 right-hander. Yep. Before the kink, they had a little bit of contact. Miller went in for a pass and just didn't quite have the grip to be able to make the corner. They made contact. Miller went straight off into the barrier, unable to turn his kart with a broken front end. Rivera continued on, even though he was up in the air, probably a good 3 feet. Was able to continue on, but it was Diego Giat that took the victory. Garzon added a second win in the other heat race, so he went 2 for 2 up to that point. But Rivera bounced back to pick up a win in heat 3, while Fernando Luque picked up the victory in the other heat race. So a lot of different drivers in the mix there. Ended up being Garzon with those 2 heat wins on the pole position alongside Rivera. Landon Skinner in the third spot. Luque,
I believe,
correct?
So.
Luque in the fourth position with Alex Mercado in fifth. So we knew it was going to be a fight. Early on, it was a good little shuffle, but eventually Rivera was able to grab the lead and kind of break away for a little bit. But Luque ended up being able to run him down. So it was a 2-driver breakaway out front. They kind of went back and forth a little bit here and there. On the final lap, Rivera went defensive into turn 14. We knew it was going to happen. So did Fernando. He made the over-under move on the exit. They went through the kink side by side all the way to the start-finish line, but Rivera was able to edge him out by 26 thousandths of a second at the line. However, Luque ended up being disqualified in tech, so thus would lose the second position. That moved Giat up into the second position. Stephen Miller, an amazing drive for him. He had obviously that contact in the second heat, which dropped him down to 22nd in the grid. And he came all the way up into the now third position with an amazing drive. Peyton Westcott, who did a great job in qualifying, was second in qualifying, was able to run up front all weekend long, ended up finishing in the fourth spot with Landon Skinner one of my Texas drivers I thought was going to be able to pull off the victory in the 5th position.
Yeah, Miller's run that David mentioned there from 19th or their 22nd up to 3rd was the hard charger with 19 spot improvement. Great run again for Rivera. Again, that last corner when you defended the inside of the corner of the turn 14 hairpin, man, if the other driver does a good job and you don't do it, you don't get the thing to rotate, you could easily get beat at the line. And as David said, 26 thousandths of a second, Rivera just nipping Luque for that position. And I will give a little shout out to Peyton Westcott. She qualified on the pole at the Challenge of the Americas finale at Sonoma, and then qualified second here at USPKS at Speed Sports in K100 Junior. David, she's got blinding speed. She works with Matt Johnson at Nash Motorsports. The speed is there. The racecraft keeps coming up. And I think we're going to be talking about Peyton Westcott a lot throughout the season, running in the top 5, top 10.
Yeah, without a doubt. She's certainly improving. This was her best USPKS performance thus far. And as you said, did very well at the Challenge of the Americas finale. Austin Olds had another good weekend. He stayed out of trouble, was in the mix all weekend long, just missed out on the top 5 there. Tyler Roberts, home track for the junior rookie. He ended up finishing in 6th. So a number of drivers kind of making their way this weekend, putting their name into the hat a little bit. So we'll see how things shake out for this category in Newcastle.
Yeah, it's going to be fun watching those rookies, the freshmen in the junior category, kind of continue to get more comfortable, getting their feet wet and getting some traction. And we're going to see them work their way forward before it's all said and done. Let's wrap up this particular segment here on the EKN Debrief. The race report brought to you by Factory Karts with KA100 Masters presented by Speed Concepts Racing. The headline, 2 in a row for Raleigh on birthday weekend. Yeah, big weekend for Mike Rollison.
Yeah, big weekend for him and the entire RPG crew, picking up now 3 victories on the weekend with Rivera's 2 and his own. Didn't look that way, however, as he qualified 3rd overall with Adam Kreppen making his class debut. Got tired of racing the senior drivers and drivers, half his age. Decided to move over into the Masters category and put it right on pole position. Just said, I don't know where the lap came from. It just happened. So It was great. And you got to remember, he's a privateer working out of the back of his dad's trailer. His dad is actually one of the officials. His mom is an official as well. So he's all by himself working on his own stuff. And it was just, it was a great story all weekend long to kind of follow. And it's what we want. This is the type of Masters. You want to see this in Masters. We want to see guys doing this. But yeah, so put down a lap in qualifying, was able to beat best Danilo Romalo, who moved over to Sodi Kart with PK Sports on the weekend. And then, as said, Rollison in the 3rd spot. So those were kind of the players throughout the heat race. Rollison was able to pick up the win in the opening heat ahead of Tommy Anderson coming up from the 5th spot. But it was Romalo picking up the win in the 2nd heat, as there was contact actually between Rollison and Anderson in the 2nd heat. So that kind of dropped them back in the order during that race, as Kreppen sat there in 2nd. 3rd heat ended up being Rollison coming up with the win, with Kreppen once again in the 2nd spot ahead of Tommy Anderson. So it set the grid with Kreppen and Rollison on the front row, Romalo and Nicky Coella on the 2nd row, Tommy Anderson and Jake Fetter on the 3rd row. So again, a lot of different contenders in the field, and it ended up being more as the race main event went on. Rollison, Kreppen, and Romalo, were all fighting for the lead, all took their turn at the point. Eventually, Romalo kind of got slipped back into the 4th spot, and he was caught up by Mario Barrios, who's making the charge up from 10th, and then Nicky Coella, who was right there already as well, as they were able to catch up with the leaders. Eventually, Rollison and Kreppen were able to push away from the rest of the field and kind of decide the race on their own. However, Raleigh had other ideas, as they was able to kind of inch away bit by bit from Kreppen to be able to cross the line ahead in the 1st position, taking the victory by 0.6 of a second. Behind them, it was a great little battle.
Yeah, that was a really good battle.
Eventually, Barrios got into the 3rd spot and was able to kind of break away, as Romalo and Coella kind of were going back and forth. Unfortunately, on the last lap, ended up being contact between the 2 drivers. with between Coella and Romalo. This allowed Tommy Anderson to kind of slide through by both of them for the 4th position. Romalo ended up continuing on into and crossed the line in the 5th spot, but was penalized for the contact. So that actually dropped him from 5th to 10th. So that could be a big factor in the championship hunt. And then that moved Miguel Mir, who I thought was going to be one of my Texas picks to win. Yeah. Just didn't quite have the pace all weekend long, but ended up finishing in the 5th spot. So joined the podium there.
I watched that entire race, and it was that battle behind Rawlson and Crepin when they started to pull away. Romalo, you could tell, was kind of getting frustrated because they were battling through each other. They were in 6, 7, 8, 9, all the way through the double right-handers of 9, right? They were going at each other so much that they were losing time. And I see Romalo at one point was pointing forward, like, what are we doing? Why are we battling each other? And it just obviously percolated over, boiled over to the final lap. And as you said, Romalo getting penalized for that contact with he and Nicky Coelho. And indeed, Rawlson, strong win, birthday boy, 0.6 of a second victory over Crepin, just stretching away, as you said, at the end of it. Barrios was able to pull away from the battle behind him to get that 3rd. So a couple of RPG drivers on the podium, Tommy Anderson and Miguel Mir rounding out the top 5. Barrios, actually, David, was the hard charge as well. Started back in 10th. Kind of methodically worked its way forward and was kind of at the tail of that scrap outside the front running 2 drivers, and then kind of leveraged it, made a couple of good moves, and everything kind of played for him as they started the battle behind him.
Yeah, and it was looking to be like it was going to be Martin Stone as well too. He was in that mix that was closing up on the leaders. Unfortunately, a loose rear bumper gave him the meatball flag, and he was forced to pull off the racetrack. So the championship leader ended up finishing in 19th.
Ouch. That'll shake things up, folks. We can go look forward to the next event on the series. One more break here. We got 2 more breaks. Yeah, 2 more breaks to come after this one here, folks. We'll wrap up the race report with Mini Swift and Micro Swift. It all started in my parents' garage, MPG. That's the foundation for MPG Motorsports, which grew from a small home garage into one of the top race teams and kart shops in the industry. A true passion for motorsports runs deep in the DNA of MPG, which has developed strong connections within karting. Now based at Whiteland Raceway Park in central Indiana, MPG Motorsports offers a wide range of opportunities through its race team while providing a full-service kart shop as an official dealer for the Kart Republic brand. The MPG Motorsports race team is led by ownership partner and karting champion Chase Jones and provides full trackside service and driver development. Be part of the MPG program at the United States Pro Kart Series, Stars Championship Series, and Route 66 Sprint Series events with arrive and drive opportunities available at those programs along with the Whiteland Club races this season. A new 3,500 square foot shop is currently under construction at the Whiteland Raceway Park in Whiteland, Indiana for the new home of MPG Motorsports. The new headquarters will provide local and regional racers with a full-service race shop, and they'll provide a wide range of parts and supplies to racers, including the full chassis line of the Kart Republic brand. For more information, head to mpg-motorsports.com and follow us on social media. Let MPG take your motorsports career in the direction of your choice. CRG is one of the most iconic brands in karting, and we're primed and ready for the 2022 season with new material and a never-ending focus on winning. CRG Nordam is the North American distributor for all CRG products. Based outside of Houston, Texas, CRG Nordam supports CRG dealers across the continent, reaching every corner of North America. The CRG KT5 is our new chassis for tag and shifter racing, and it's been designed specifically for the US market. The KT5 features 30mm construction with a 32mm front loop to increase front grip. CRG's new Ben 13 brake system is cutting-edge technology with a master cylinder that allows for pressure regulation within the system. Drivers can customize brake pressure to their own requirements to improve feel and to avoid brake lockup. The kart is finished with new KG 507, 508 bodywork that has refined aerodynamics and reduced weight. For cadet drivers, the 2022 CRG Black Mirror is already logging positive results to start the new season. This chassis will be making big waves in 2022. Longtime CRG drivers will be happy to know that the CRG Road Rebel the standard in quality and performance is still available. With 4-cycle racing enjoying consistent growth in North America, CRG's FS4 chassis is the ideal choice for racers in Briggs & Stratton competition. From pure racing to karting entertainment, many tracks, both indoor and outdoor, have made the switch to the CRG Centurion rental kart line. 5 different models for both gas-powered or electric engines can fit any track's needs for a new rental kart fleet. CRG Nordam has a full inventory of rental karts available for new and existing facilities. For more information on the CRG product line, head to www.kartcrg.com, and to inquire about a North American dealer near you, please email us at info@kartcrg-nordam.com. History, success, family. Those are the 3 words that can describe Comet Kart Sales, one of the longest tenured karting businesses in the United States. The family-owned operation located just outside of Indianapolis has provided karts, parts, and services for thousands of racers in the near 6 decades of business. Their online store features everything you need, continually adding new parts to their product line. From full karting packages, new engines, spare or replacement parts, and safety gear, find it all at CometKartSales.com. Their Comet Racing Engine service has won multiple major events and championships over decades of karting and continues to offer the best trackside service in the industry, specializing in IAME X30, IAME Swift, and other 2-cycle power plants. Make sure to head to CometKartSales.com or call them at 317-462-3413 to be part of the Comet Kart Sales family today. Welcome back to the EKN Radio Network, episode 112 of our Debrief podcast. We break down the event as part of our EKN trackside coverage. The USPKS heading to Speed Sports Racing Park for the Texas Grand Prix this past weekend. David Cole was there and is filing today's report here on the podcast. This race report continuing, brought to you by Factory Karts. Let's move to Mini Swift, presented by DNJ Intermodal Services. The headline, Palacio wins in unofficial main event. Give me the insight on this one.
Yeah, Rocco Simone set the tone to begin the weekend, putting down the fast lap in qualifying ahead of Marco Romero, a new name towards the front of the field, with Lucas Palacio in third. It ended up being 3 different winners in the heat races as well, with Romero, Palacio, and Simone each picking up a race win. So again, one thing about the mini category, a lot of side-by-side racing all weekend long. So this was a good one to watch, and you didn't really quite have a favorite going into the main event. The 3 different race winners set the grid this way, with Rocco Simone on the pole position, with Max Christia on the outside of the front row. Travis Pettit with a consistent run through the heat races in this 3rd spot next to Marco Romero. Royce Vega and Lucas Palacio filled out the 3rd row. So the main event, I believe 18 laps. I don't have the number in front of me. Christia, Romero, Simone, Palacio, all different leaders in the basically first half of the race. It was great. Again, big, large lead group going back and forth. Eventually, Romero was leading on the last lap. Had Palacio slip by him, I believe, at the end of the straightaway or just after that. So as they came into the last section of the racetrack, we saw very similar to what we saw in the KA100 junior category. Palacio went defensive into turn 14. Romero set him up for the over-under. They were able to drag race down to the line, and Romero was actually able to edge out Palacio there by just, let me see here, just a few tenths or a few hundredths of a second. But behind them was an entire race pack of karts crossing the line as well. So I want to say there was around 8 to 10 karts in the lead group. Wow. Unfortunately for Romero, as he came into the scale line, had a half pushback bumper, thus was penalized 3 seconds for that. That actually dropped him all the way back to the 10th position.
Ooh,
so
because it was so tight up front.
Because there was so many guys in the lead group. So that handed the the victory over to Palacio, moving Ashton Woon, who was right there, into the second spot aboard the Parolin. Michael McGoy in third, Max Castilla in fourth, and then Bobby Klein, hard charger of the race, up 17 spots from 22nd to 5th. A great run for him. Unfortunately, however, the results are unofficial. All of the drivers received their trophies, but as they know, it is unofficial, pending further tech inspection. So,
really, what happened there?
So
Get some insight on that.
Rick Jump's taking some parts and some engines to be reviewed by IME USA officials, and if they have to, even further than that. So,
all right,
yeah. So as of right now, Mini Swift is unofficial as of today, and probably for the next couple of weeks.
Okay, well, there you go, folks. Unofficial for Mini Swift. Big run there again for Lucas Palacio with a win. Congratulations, of course, to Marco Romero, despite the pushback bumper, running up front and strong. And Bobby Klein, good to see him, one of the local drivers, up to the P5. That's a good result for Bobby. Let's go now to Micro Swift, presented by Team Ferris Racing. Here is the headline: Ives calls shot in second straight series victory. Calls his shot? I want to hear this, Cole. What happened?
Yeah, you don't quite get that in the micro division, do you?
No.
No. Well, Ives actually, was a driver to beat when qualifying was said and done on Friday, had set fast time. So everybody was gunning for him. And they certainly did that because Ives was not able to pick up a heat race win through all three rounds. Colton Schneegenberg ended up being the driver to beat. He qualified back in 6th, but was able to race his way forward in the opening 2 heat races to take the wins there. Then Cade Casper, however, picked up the win in heat 3 as Colton finished in the second spot. But those 2 wins in second put him on the pole position for the main event alongside Cade Casper, Maxwell Macha, and Aston Wyatt in the second row, with Alex Chandler starting in 5th and Parker Ives in 6th. So Ives, the top qualifier, back in the 6th spot. As he told his mechanic and his dad, he said he had the cart to win it, and certainly did that. That's basically what he did. He called the shot. He said, "I have the cart to win it. We'll just go and do it."
All right.
And that's what he did. Just inched his way forward bit by bit. You had Schneegenberg, Maxwell, and Macha, and Cade Casper. They all led, so it kind of kept the front of the group a little bit tight as Ives was able to kind of pick off a driver one by one. Eventually, he took the lead on lap 12, and just from there, just kind of drove away from the rest of the field. They weren't able to keep up his pace in the closing 6 laps of the main event, and drove away to a 2-point-second margin of victory for his second straight victory in United States Pro Kart Series competition.
Wow.
Maxwell Mach
calls the shot on the Nitro. I like it. That's cool.
Called the shot. It was a battle for the second spot behind him. However, Colton Schneegenberg got into a little bit of contact with 3 corners to go, so he was unable to continue. That allowed Maxwell Macha to cross the line in the second spot ahead of Cade Casper aboard the GFC. Pasha Ali moving up into the 4th spot. He started back in 9th, so it was a good run up there in the late running for him, with Alex Chandler in the 5th position.
Hard charge went to Liam Nakawati, the Parolin driver, up 16th spot, started 26th, able to work his way up into the top 10. So David, a pretty good run for Nakawati as well.
Yeah, had some issues, couple of issues. Qualified well, was up front, but two bad heat races put him back in the main event grid, but was able to drive up into the top 10.
Yeah, qualified 3rd, as David had said, had issues in the heat races, but got himself into the top 10. So a decent recovery for Nakawati there. Folks, final break in the action. When we get back here on the debrief, we'll wrap things up. We'll look at the Constructors' Championship, and we'll cap it all off with a look at the EKN Trackside Live Race Calendar. Don't go away. We'll cap things off after this break. The new face of competitive karting in the Pacific Northwest region is RaceLab. The full-service karting operation is located at the state-of-the-art Kartplex facility in Oliver, British Columbia, Canada, providing everything you need to hit the track or put yourself in a successful driver development program. RaceLab is the official North American distributor for the TB Kart chassis brand, providing the full range of models from kid kart to shifter kart. Villeneuve Racing Karts is their flagship product, available only through RaceLab. The brand carries the name of Formula One champion and Indianapolis 500 winner Jacques Villeneuve, with each model produced by TV Kart. Kartplex, the home of RaceLab, is situated on the grounds of the Area 27 Motorsports Park. From full arrive and drive TV Kart rentals to leagues and competition karting, the facility provides a new home to developing the future stars of motorsports, all beginning at Kartplex with RaceLab. Follow RaceLab on social media on Facebook and Instagram, or load up their website at www.theracelab.ca to learn more about TV Kart and Villeneuve Racing Karts. RaceLab. Race with us, win with us. For over 20 years, Greg Bell has been building race-winning power for kart racers. One need only look at his team, Leading Edge Motorsports. He's always built engines for his team, and the results have been wins at the biggest races in America, the SCUSA Super Nationals and the Rock Vegas events. The name on this program? Mega Power. This year alone, Bell and Danny Formel teamed up to sweep the Rock Shifter class on the Florida Winter Tour, all on a Mega Power engine. If you want to win shifter kart races, it's time to put Mega Power on your kart. Mega Power specializes in gearbox engines, such as the TMKZ, Rock Shifter, and IME Shifter, but with almost 3 decades of engine building experience, Bell develops winning motors for X30 and Mini Swift and everything in between. The combination of Greg Bell's engine building skills and his chassis tuning knowledge is a potent mixture. Greg's helped catapult many drivers to wins over the years, including Mercedes F1 star George Russell, who won the Supernats 14 in 2011 with Leading Edge Motorsports. Increase your odds of winning at this year's Rock Vegas or Super National events, or throughout 2023 by calling Greg Bell today at 209-747-2613 to put Mega Power in your corner. In racing, experience is priceless. Franklin Motorsports is a leader in the karting industry with over 50 years of combined karting experience, and we can provide you with everything you need to go racing. With a large online product selection, select track support events, and a wide variety of shop services, Franklin Motorsports is your complete karting source. Check out our online store at www.franklinkart.com, where all our products are just a mouse click away. We're constantly adding to the growing product selection on the online store, and we ship daily to ensure products get to you quickly. We specialize in IAME engines, Tillett seats, ceramic products, driveline branded products, Briggs & Stratton engines, OTK products, and of course, the championship winning Merlin chassis. In our online store, you'll find a variety of items to fill your karting needs. Franklin Motorsports is also known for our wide variety of services and is home to Innovative Engine Works by FMS, our in-house engine service department. Frame straightening, kart prep, and dyno testing are all services offered regularly at Franklin Motorsports. For all things karting, visit franklinkart.com. Welcome back to the final segment of this edition of the EKN Debrief, episode number 112, as we wrap things up from the USPKS event, the Texas Grand Prix at Speed Sports Racing Park. Awesome to see people get an opportunity to check out the track. David, let's go into the wrap-up. I'm sure you'll start kind of with that, right? Speed Sports Racing Park. People have got a chance to see it that haven't been there before. It was, I don't want to say that it was like the best kept secret in American karting, but you know, people in Texas know about it, but it just really hadn't found its way into the rotation or one of the schedules of a major national. That changed this past weekend.
Yeah, I would expect to see the speed sports being in the rotation for the USPKS for at least a 2, 3, if not 5-year run. It's a good location. You know, it's kind of centralized for the United States, so it helps some of the West Coast teams with a less of a travel expense or distance. So, and again, the racetrack is provided great racing, as we just went over, in a lot of the different categories. In a good facility, easy airport to. Well, when I say easy, it's a major airport, but not really easy to navigate. But all in all, you know, you got IKF Grand Nationals that are going to be there later this year, but I would expect to see more and more big events at Speed Sports.
Nice. Listen, from the get-go, David, you were thrilled when we found out there was going to be one main event. Not only is it a lot of fun to have just that one big event on Sunday, it makes it a lot easier for us in these debriefs not to not to have to talk about two main events. But man, I like the format. A lot of points throughout the entire program. It's give me your thoughts on the format itself.
I just think the way the championship points are handed out and the heat races matter, the qualifying sessions matter. It's going to make for some interesting championship chases this year. You know, certainly with a number of the championship leaders that had issues this week, or, you know, coming in, championship leaders coming into this weekend having issues. It kind of shuffles up the order, and then Newcastle's we're going to reset everything, and then we'll have two more race weekends to kind of decide everything. And I just, you know, it just makes for the weekend to be interesting. Not everything is a rush, you know. By the, you know, at the end of Saturday, everybody's kind of relaxed a little bit, you know, or either stressed because they're starting on pole, or stressed because they're way in the back and they got to move forward. So, but there's, it seems to be a lot more relaxed atmosphere, even though it already is a pretty good relaxed atmosphere at USPKS. But I look forward to seeing how these championships are going to unfold.
Dave, you mentioned the next event, Indiana Grand Prix, June the 22nd to the 25th at Newcastle Motorsports Park. That's obviously one of the things we'll start looking forward to. It's a little less than a couple months away, 7 weeks away. Do they know? Did you hear any chatter about potentially what layout they're going to run there?
No, I didn't. And I didn't even ask because I was still in speed sports mode. So that's, you know, as I wrote this script, that's kind of the one thing that, you know, we want to know what the layout is going to be for Newcastle. That's going to be the interesting part, and could be a big factor on the weekend.
All told, 8 main events running throughout the weekend with the addition of the Pro Shifter category here for 2023. 5 different brands, Dave, grab and race wins. Let's go through the Constructors Championship.
Yeah, matched the number of different brands that we had in Orlando, going with Cosmic picking up 3. You had Rivera picking up 2 himself with Mike Rollison, the third Cosmic to win. Kart Republic picking up 2 with Joe Turney and Lucas Palacio. Tony Kart, Magic Kart, and Nitro Kart each taking a victory.
Let's move now into the EKN Trackside Live Race Calendar. We'll wrap things off. This edition of the Race Calendar brought to you by Skip Barber. Are you looking for the next step in racing? Go from karts to cars with the Skip Barber Racing School. Skip Barber alumni are champions in every motorsports series, including Formula One, NASCAR, IMSA, and IndyCar. Get behind the wheel of a Skip Barber Formula 4 car that features a 160 horsepower turbocharged engine. Our highly structured and competitive Skip Barber Formula Race Series is the perfect platform to start your racing career, so you can fulfill your dream of becoming a champion. With equalized race cars and a focus on driver development, your driving skills will determine if you end up in victory lane. Learn more about the Skip Barber Racing School at skipbarber.com or call 866-932-1949. All right, David Cole, it's wild. We don't normally do this, but here we are, May the 2nd, and we do not have a race to cover through the month of May. You mentioned Rollison Performance Group kind of wrapping things up and heading out to their driver training program that they do out in Oregon in May. We got essentially nationally, for us at least, we got a month off.
It's very similar to the August in Europe, except everybody's still going to be working. But there's no major event. I think that it's good because it's been a busy 4 months to start the year. I almost want to see this happen every year. I think we need that kind of middle of the year break. We know May is a busy month. You have the month of May in Indiana. You have a lot of graduations, a lot of this, a lot of that go on in May. So it almost seems like May is a good time to kind of take a break from national level racing. So it's something I'm going to write in a column here coming up next week, and we'll see how it's perceived from the paddock and the industry itself. But it also allows people to go back to home, regroup, go to local or regional races, because I think, again, the month of May could be, let's start highlighting some of the regional and local races that are going on in the country.
That's a really good point. Obviously, to start the season, January, February, and March, you have all the big winter series, right? You've got the SCUSA Winter Series, the Rock Cup Florida Winter Tour. You got the Challenge of the Americas on the West Coast. You got the SCUSA Pro Tour, the USPKS kind of starting off. Those two big national programs getting launched. 2 races for USPKS. Gives everybody at that level a chance to kind of lift off the throttle, breathe a little bit. But like you said, these racers can go back home. Maybe they want to do a club race. They want to do a regional event. Stars Championship running a regional event. I believe this coming weekend, obviously one of the biggest regional series on the East Coast. So there's a lot of regional stuff going on right now. We talked about the NorCal sprint karting series running last weekend as well. So I think you're right. I like the idea of a little bit of a break, but for us, we're able to get back in the office, get caught up on things, get digging. The next event will be a trackside run on June 9th, 10th, and 11th. I'll be at the SuperKarts USA Pro Tour Spring Nationals at Utah Motorsports Campus out in Erda, Utah. Looking forward to that one. A great racetrack, as we know. A couple weeks down the line, David, you'll be back trackside with the United States Pro Kart Series. We already mentioned it. June the 23rd, 24th, 25th. Newcastle Motorsports Park, your first trip to Newcastle of what will be what? 3, 4 this year, or just the 3? 4 for you.
4. You have USPKS, you have
yeah.
SuperKarts USA Pro Tour, you have the Rotax Trophy US Trophy Final, and then Cup Karts North America Grand Nationals.
There you go.
And then maybe we'll throw a club race there here and there. We'll see.
We might. You never know. So there, folks, we have a couple of races coming in June, but otherwise we kind of got the month of May to catch up ourselves, take a bit of a breather, and get back to where we've been, because we've been off, as you guys all know, thrashing all year long with all the races we've been to start the season off. So the month of May, a little bit of a break, at least karting-wise. I've got 2 other events still to go to with the USF Pro Championship, so I'm still pretty busy all the way through the entire summer. I think I don't have 2 weekends off in a row until I think October. So it's going to be a busy one for me. David's going to get a bit of a break, as is Nate. So that is good. And that is a wrap, David, on the EKN debrief for the USPKS Texas Grand Prix at Speed Sports. Any final thoughts before we wrap this one up?
Excited for my first trip. It was an amazing weekend at Speed Sports. Thank you to Alan and Jessica and John, everybody there at the facility. And a great one with the USPKS staff again, and excited to see what happens in Newcastle next month.
And David, Speed Sports, another one of your tracks where you can get that in and out fix you're looking for. I think it's a big thing.
Yeah, I gotta wait now till our any other trips out west, which I don't think there is one at Pat's Acres.
No, there's not. I don't think there is.
No.
All right, folks, that wraps things up for this edition of the EKN Debrief. Hope you enjoyed it. On behalf of David Cole, my name's Rob Howden. Bye for now.